All right. Good morning, everyone. Oh, awesome. Camera's already locked up. Let's see what we got. That works. This camera doesn't work. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Cliff. Good morning, Greg. Let's see if I can restart this camera up. How is everybody doing? Happy Sunday. I'm going to try to delete that. So, technical difficulties. We're going to try to get this. Anyway, here we are with the Ornithopter. We're about halfway through. We got about 4 bags to go. I built a couple bags off stream so we could get through the rest today. Let's see if we can add this video capture device. Sometimes this is just, nope, I don't like it. Do I have another thing running where it might be taking that? So the build so far is all right. This bit, there's there's going to be foldable bits right here. This is going to be to retract and extend the wings. This is something. I think it's supposed to make the wings shimmer, shake a little bit, wiggle. It doesn't seem to do a lot. It seems like it might be there to do more, but you can see the kind of the pontoons things, they do move a little bit, but I thought maybe they would move a little more. So we're going to see if that actually is the case. You are a part of my Facebook group. What Facebook group? I have a, you mean my Facebook page? Oh, okay. Groovy. This doesn't even recognize the other camera. Ugh. Yeah, usually this was working. So let me see if I unplug it. Hang on one second. Aren't you in Houston, Greg? I know we have a couple people who kind of cross-pollinate the lugs, just making sure that you're if you're in the Houston one, that's the one that works for you. Camera. Yeah, I don't know why this camera's not being seen. I hate this stuff where you fire it up at like 7:30 and then it all works. And then you and then you fire it up for real and it goes, nope, gonna lock up now. What's up, Missy? So it might just be a faceless camera today. I don't want to mess with it too much, and everything else seems to be working. So you guys are just gonna have to do that, my pretty face, which is fine because last night was a bit of a party. It was Beth's birthday, and we the reverie went late into the night. We had a karaoke set up, and we were just singing until it was late. We started outside, so had a fire. So I'm sure between all the blowing pollen and the smoke and the constant singing, you can hear it in my voice. I'm a little fried. Anyway, moving on to bag 7. We've got Chani. It looks like their version of a Chris knife is just going to be a white blade. I'm also going to make this chat a little smaller. I think this is a little big. The chat there is mostly for people with bigger screens anyway, who are participating on TV or something. All right, Cliff, take care. Yeah, I'll see you tonight. We're doing dinner with Beth for her birthday, but I made sure to be back by 7:30. So yeah, it's a fun set so far. It's very technic-y, but it's got a lot of cool building techniques kind of around the Technic that I find interesting. So I'm just worried that I've done something internally with the wings that like this just, it doesn't, like there's a whole lot tied into making these wings work, and I'm not sure that I got that, like I got it right. These components that you build, you have to build 8 of these different like things. It's very possible I built one wrong or put it in wrong, but I mean, nothing like, everything seemed to go in just fine. That's the thing. Like it all felt like I was not struggling to build anything, and everything kind of went in okay. There's a couple of interesting build techniques with like things flipping over on their sides. Especially Technic-wise, and it seemed fine, so not really sure what's going to happen. And if it does, I take it apart and try to fix it. Alright, so this is Chani, this is Zendaya, and her Chris knife, which, a little disappointed, Lego, not going to lie. I know it's an added piece, but brown lightsaber hilt, and a thorn, and a barb, a white barb gets you a Chris knife. This is just a white sword. That's not a Chris knife. So, but there's your Chani with the blue on blue eyes from the spice melange. She's got a scarf. She also has a second head again with the still suit mask, which does Liet Kynes have that? Yes, Liet Kynes has that. Gurney doesn't, and Leto doesn't. So only the two, like, kind of actual Fremen. Well, she's a Fremen. She's the Imperial ecologist. Anyway, what are your favorite pieces in the set? There's been nothing really new piece-wise. I think there was a weird Technic piece in here that I knew was going to be a problem just because it's one of these that join 2 different Technic bricks together vertically. Kind of like that clothes hanger Technic piece, which I'm not a fan of because I know that's going to be impossible to take apart. But yeah, nothing really striking as like a new piece or anything. I do like seeing some dark gray tiles. These tiles, I think probably these slopes, these 1x6, 12 or 8 degree slopes, 12 degree slopes, probably my favorite so far. Yeah. Everything up to this point has been just Technic. Oh yeah, the orange ball joint's been pretty good. I like that. I wish that was around when I was designing my Horizon machines, because that would have been great. That would have been a good use. Because I need flashes of orange to be kind of in there. I might still consider replacing some of those. But I don't think I have a lot of those ball joints specifically. I have the ball joints that are attached to the plates. But that's a good piece to know about. So how's everybody's Sunday going? How's everybody's weekend? So, I got a funny story. A couple days ago, I get a text from FedEx. I'm so sorry, I'm sniffling a lot. I get a text from FedEx that says your package will be delivered February 2nd. And I'm like, all right. I actually had a couple things from ordering from Amazon. And so it didn't really surprise me, but I'm like, I never get a text from FedEx saying that I've got a package coming from Amazon. Amazon usually handles that on their own. I do get texts from FedEx about some other shipments that we get. We got a pet food thing, Chewy. I'll get a thing saying I've got something from them. And then every once in a while, if I order Lego online, it'll say, hey, this coming from this location. And I can usually tell it's Lego because it says from Romeoville, Illinois. I'm still looking at the camera up here, thinking it's just out of habit. So I got this, and I'm like, I didn't order anything. Like, I mean, I did, but it's not. This piece, there it is. So I was trying to rack my brain, could not figure out what it was. I ordered a hat for Beth's party. It was a musical themed, and I ordered a hat so I could dress like Harold Hill from The Music Man, because that's my favorite musical. But I had already got a word from Amazon that was delayed. So I was like, well, that's not it. And the other thing I ordered, I already had. I got a Amazon Basics bunch of bags. Ooh, all right. Well, I haven't seen these in red, so there you go. That's pretty cool. This is easily one of my favorite utility pieces. Use this a lot in the machine designs and the microfighter designs. I use it a lot. And it looks like I may have an extra, so that's fun. Oh, hi, baby. Little one's in here with me. Oh, well, now she's leaving. She's fickle. She's like, I heard another human. So I was like, there was a bit of a mystery. So I was like, all right. So the day arrived. I still haven't had my hat. So I was like, well, it's not my hat. And I got a thing that says, sorry, your order's delayed. What do you want to do with, if you want to cancel it, we'll refund you. And I'm like, yeah, because I went to Party City. And not only did they have one, they had one for $20 less. So yeah, I want to cancel this. I don't know if you can really see what's going on here in the instructions, but this snot build has some really fun techniques in it. I'm just really liking. So you got your basic plate, brick, snot brick. And then it's like a whole section here that's on that bracket with tubes, that T-shaped bracket, right? And then it's got a couple things going kind of horizontally there, and then a panel right there to hold it all in place. And then it's got these guys holding these new 1x3 round plates. Just a whole ton of snot build going on here. I don't want it to go underappreciated. Somebody worked very hard on this. So the big day arrives, and it says your package has been delivered. And of course, because you can put these over the top of that, it's like that. I don't know why it had to be specifically like that. That's very interesting. Like this whole thing, I would have built as 3 bricks and been done. Couple snot bricks on either side. I don't know if it's a spacing thing or what, but very interesting. I go open the door, open the package. I'm like, what is this? And it says it's from Target. And I get an email that says your Target order has been delivered. I'm like, my Target order? I haven't ordered anything from Target. And I open it up. It's another Ornithopter. I had pre-ordered the Ornithopter in October. somebody made a big deal about it being pre-orderable on Target. And I went, well, I have a red card. So because I had a red card, I saved 5% or something. And because I have a receipt, I also get points with that receipt. And you scan the instructions, you get points. So I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I'll go ahead and pre-order that. And then when the time comes, maybe, you know, I'm not, and I know yesterday Ben's thinking was, yeah, I don't need the points as much. I'll just go ahead and get it now, and then I don't have to worry about it. And then it's okay if it gets there the day after everybody else has it, because I'm not an RLFM, so it doesn't matter if I get it the next day. I can stream it on Sunday or whenever it comes out. Well, I forgot about it completely. So now I have 2 of these. And I feel a little bad because I didn't have to go out and buy this one. But now I have an extra one that I guess I can hang on to for, I don't know, a couple of years till it retires and then sell it. It wasn't meaning to be invested, but there you go. Or I could open it, take all the pieces, because there's some fun pieces, sell all the figures, make some money back. A giveaway. We'll see. My stream anniversary is coming up in March. I could hang on to it for 1,000 subscribers, but I mean, it's going to be another couple of years till I get 1,000 subscribers. I think I've plateaued pretty well on this channel, so I think the algorithm at YouTube gives you a good 6 months to a year to like reach a large audience, and then if you don't, they're just kind of like, yeah, you're obviously not the one we want to put money in, so we're gonna relegate you. Plus, it's live streams and it's not videos, so they just don't know how to do that. But Twitch, I felt like every time I'd go over to Twitch, they're always like, where have you been? Here's some new tools. Make sure to, you know, get in front of your viewers. I'm like, yeah, I got it. And I get there and like, I would go whole weeks without like a single viewer chatting with me on Twitch. And I'm like, this is dumb. Zissou! Cliff has bailed. He had to go. I got that going so far. My face cam is not working for some reason. It gets, I don't know if it's a Windows thing or an OBS thing, but apparently sometimes I don't need Power Automate running. I don't know why that's running at all. I even started it up this morning. I came in, started everything up. Everything looked good. I cycled through all my scenes, camera, you know, stuff. I could see everything, brought up the chat, blah, blah, blah. And then come back in here after it was on start scene and went to full. And it's just the last scene the last thing the camera saw of my face when I was testing it. And I'm like, come on, man. But that's not the important part. The important part is the Lego. That's what we're doing. Dude, that's not a very good connection. I don't know if I like that too much. Johnny is going to be late. He had a water heater explosion or something. He said he'd pop on later, but there are some things that are more important, and I'm okay if he doesn't come on at all. Life happens. So today is officially Beth's birthday. Everybody wish Beth happy birthday. She is years old. And last night we had a very good party with all of our friends. Yeah, he said, oh, furnace. It was the furnace. Which, being in Pennsylvania, I think is worse than a water heater. Yeah. So we had that's not right. Did that wrong. So we had a good night last night. We sang our brains out. That's a good combination right there. Also, that. A lot of people, not everybody wanted to sing, which is fine. They just kind of wanted to hang out. We did it outside. We rented some karaoke equipment and did it outside until about 10. And then after that, I was like, all right, we probably shouldn't annoy the neighbors anymore. Let's bring it inside. Thinking after that, nobody would want to. It like ramped up when we got inside. Everyone's like, yep, time to sing now. And I'm like, okay. A few people left by then, so I think it was more like, here are the actual karaoke singers now. The people left behind. You didn't do Jack last night? And then today was supposed to be... Ooh, this is a... Today it was going to be this, and then go paint TIFO, which is the big banners that we use for the Austin FC games. They have signups for like a month and a half while the giant banners get painted. That's it? That's not being held on very well. I'm hoping that gets more attention. The chat says happy birthday. Everybody in the chat says happy birthday. She says thank you. And then after that... so it was going to be 4 hours of TIFO starting at noon. And I was going to go with my oldest, and I just texted them and said, I don't think I'm going to make that. But then I have another shift at 2, and this is all voluntary. Like we're not getting paid to do it. I texted my oldest and was like, I don't think I'm going to make this. If you're going to go, you're going by yourself. And they're like, yeah, that's no problem. It's like, I will try. Oh, they do fix it. Okay, so they add a plate in here. That's good. They also said it with great enthusiasm. You move furniture in a bedroom. Nice. Did you get new furniture, or was it just moving stuff around? So yeah, this, then TIFO painting, recovering from the party, all while doing this. Come back home, dinner with Beth. Light dinner with Beth. We're gonna and our friends. They wanted to take her to dinner. And then Cliff stream at 8 o'clock. Had to put a bench at the end of the bed so our 13-year-old dog can get on the bed. Aw. How many spankings did she get? Well, none yet. Did research prices some parts in Brooklyn. Guess I'm not completely useless. I am not looking forward to the days. We had we had an older dog before we got these two nerds. Beth had a dog going into our relationship that she had for a long time. And she made it to about 13. She was a bigger dog. And she, at the end, couldn't, like, get up on the bed. And she really liked being up on the bed. So we're like, well, that's really sad. But she's big enough. She's so big, and we don't want to pick her up. She had a mega esophagus, so she'd regurgitate and stuff. So we're like, what do we do? So we thought maybe we'd get her some stairs and put them on the end of the bed so she could walk up the stairs. Well, dogs and stairs aren't really a thing. So we tried to like encourage her and kind of coach her and to do it. And she's old already, and you know, her hips kind of don't work and all this stuff. And so we're like encouraging her to walk up the steps. And they're specifically pet steps. They've got like, they're just these plastic things that have like a more tactile surface or a rougher surface to, you know, give you some grip. And they go right up to the edge of the bed. And we're like, well, this should help. Well, she puts 2 feet on and then stands there. And we're like, okay, keep going. And so we're like nudging her from her butt. and she got a little farther up, but then one of her back legs, which isn't really great, kind of slipped off a little bit, and she got panicked, and then her whole back end kind of slipped off one side, and she got so panicked that she pooped. This little poop goes ba-doo. And we're like, well, this probably isn't a good idea. So we're just like, yeah, we'll and Beth ended up like, for a while she would just sleep on the floor with her. It was kind of sad. And I know she misses that dog. Why? There we go. This is really cool. You build this whole thing and it connects to all this snot. And again, I'd like to remind everybody of this really rad bit of construction that's going to be totally buried in here. They must have seen something in the schematics that were like, we have to have this bit that looks like little red dots covered by a girl in there or something. So yeah, so I can appreciate the old dogness. We're going to have to do that, I'm sure, eventually with Kaylee and Aggie. Aggie you can pick up. Kaylee you cannot. She's 80 pounds. But Aggie has no agency. She's 15 pounds. We'll be carrying her all over the place when she gets old. All right. See, this is a good, like, I know it's a lot of technic, but I really am liking like how it's all coming together on the sides there. See, it's kind of cool because I know the underside's kind of underdone a little bit, but this is how they could have done something like the Justifier. Because I know the Justifier also has a bit of mechanics in it. It's such a big, empty waste of space, though, the Justifier is. So maybe they've learned some lessons from that one. Gonna have to sell the bed and drop the mattress on the floor, basically. Remember what it was like in college, hun? Yeah, that's how we're gonna sleep with our dog now. Mattress on the floor. Oh, these are good. This is a good seat combination. It's pretty good. It's those bracket tube brackets with some upside down slopes and then some tiles on the back. That's pretty nice. Pretty cool. Just snap that in there. And Bob's your uncle. I love it when a model comes together. Yeah, that's why we tried the stairs, because we thought about a ramp, but again, yeah. Our master bedroom is actually kind of long. There's a lot of room between us and the door, so that would have been okay. But I think in general, we would have been like, how are we going to do this? And it turned out we didn't, so. I'm not doing 2 of these or anything, am I? No, okay. I do love it when a model comes together, and I'm really hoping that this one actually does come together, because there's been a lot of construction on top of these pieces that I really thought there was going to be more to it than that. I mean, they barely move, so it seems like they would move more. I don't know. I feel like something's in the way. And I mean, I eyeballed this as much as I could, and it doesn't look like, because I can't really take a lot of it apart, but there's a big old, that gray shaft in there. That guy in there. If I move this any differently, I can see it bowing. So I don't know where it'd be caught up. It's just, I don't think it's moving correctly, but I guess we'll see. Which dog? The old dog or the 2 we've got now? The old dog's name was Allie. The dogs we have now are Kaylee and Agatha. Kaywinette Lee and Agatha Harkness. Because we're big nerds. Yeah. Also, we've got 3 dogs. We've had 3 dogs with the whitest girl names. Maybe not Aggie, but definitely Kaylee and Allie. I can can already tell where this is going to go. This is going to go underneath. This is going to be the little scope or rocket launcher or whatever they had. I bet you. Turn it over. Put all these guys on. Floodlights, maybe. I would put these together first. What is the most difficult set to build? So over the years, I think I've had the most problem with two sets. The first being the R2, the UCS R2 or whatever. Not the first one that was kind of chunky with its bricks, but the second one that was about the same size, but it had more of these like slope curved pieces. And reason for that being there was a middle bit with like early on. Oh, that's wrong. Early on there was a bit where you built a cage, you built a Technic cage, and there's already, wow, okay, I've missed. Yeah, dang it. That sucks. Early on, there's a part of the cage where you have to allow for that leg to drop out in the middle. And there's a way to do it where it basically sits up a certain way until you angle it back. And then it frees something up and that leg falls out. And if you don't build it just right, that leg never drops out. Well, a lot of people ran into the problem where it wasn't built like exactly as spec'd. And so they were struggling with it. And it wasn't like that hard of a technique or anything. It's just like you could mess it up. Even with the instructions that have the little X's and then green check marks and everything, you're just like, yeah, that looks like what I just did. So, all right. So I had to take it all apart and figure out why. Yeah, that was a hard one. I think the next one after that was probably, so I consider a set difficult if I'm having problems figuring, like there's bits in here. I would consider this one of the top 5. Not because I feel like anything's really hard to put together, but I think I may have messed it up. And I just don't know where I messed it up. So there may be a time where I have to go back and disassemble this and figure out what went wrong. The second, I think, for the same reason, and we were talking about this the other day, but the Nintendo with the cartridge thing, if you have a cheese wedge, there was a cheese wedge in there, and if you had it angled wrong, that little catch spring release for the cartridge doesn't work right. And it literally was like a cheese wedge, or not a cheese wedge, but it's a 1x2 slope with the back cut out piece. And if you did that wrong, it would push down, but then it wouldn't pop back up and it'd just be stuck down there. So I had to go back and redo that. So that wasn't fun. Other than that, like there's times when I'm doing a Technic thing where, and this just doesn't make the set really difficult. It's just a Technic issue, where you'll have, let's say you've got a lot of these, lift arms or something all lined up. Like that, right? You've got them all lined up and they've each got like a bunch of pins coming out. And then you've got another section that's a bunch of things where you have to line up the holes and get them all to go in at the same time. And there's like 6, right? Well, the easiest thing is to start on one and get that in, but then the other ones don't line up. So you end up having to make sure like all of them go at the same time. But the problem is the way pins work is they've got that little collapsible bit at the front, right? You got a little collapsible thing. So if you squeeze it on one side, it goes in easier. If you're trying to go in all at once, it's hard to do. And I've just sat there going clackety, 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 trying to get one of these things running right, and it doesn't work, and I get real frustrated. And I can't think of a recent instance of that. But that's uh, a difficulty that I've run into. So those two sets, maybe this one if it doesn't work properly. What is that? That's a claw. And then this guy and this guy. What is you think Lego will produce any more Dune sets? I doubt it. I think these icon sets are so they can say they've done one and then they just don't do it anymore. So they don't have to. Like, we're not going to get another Transformer set. We're not going to get anything else from Voltron. Like, we're not going to get the vehicle Voltron or anything like that. We might get, like, at some point, we might get a Gundam. I feel like a Gundam would be something that we could get. But then again, you're going to upset a lot of fans if you don't pick the right Gundam from the right universe or the right timeline, because Gundam timelines have gone all over the place. I can see them doing something like Futurama's ship. That would be a one-off icons thing. There's a lot of things where that's like, we have this great idea, but if we do, like, I think the tall neck was an icons maybe. It's like, we're not going to do this anymore. We're just going to do one, and that will be fine. And I think that's probably why they're called icons. It's like, this is the singular representation of this whole IP. And if they do two of them, that's not really an icon. After that, they're more like, well, now it's a line. Now it's a theme. So I think things that are called icons are not going to be redone anytime soon. This is a landing gear, so this goes in here. Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, and I don't think it's that obscure, but I think the older the original cartoon Mask fans get, the less likely it's going to be. I think had that hit shortly after Star Wars, like somewhere in between Star Wars and Harry Potter, maybe, like, that could have been the, well, we don't have Transformers, but we've got Mask. I think that would have worked, because I think Mask just lends itself to Lego sets. You get collectible characters. The figures all are individual. They all have their own masks. You get hair pieces. You can bump up the prices with hair pieces and masks. And you can have a whole line of vehicles, because they went on for, like, the original show. I think there were 2 seasons. So it didn't last very long. But the original show had like something like 10 vehicles, maybe, like 5 good, 5 bad guy. And then they expanded it the next year. They added like 3 or 4 each on either side. So I think they could have done well with it. And there's not to say that somebody out there, some enterprising person, won't try to do it on ideas. And I'm sure that's out there already. But that, I think it is a little obscure at this point for new fans about it. Greg, you said second one, the most difficult set to build, and then second one, so 2. There's another thing that I think would work well with Lego that I think they kind of bumped into. There was a Lego Ideas for Phineas and Ferb. They were doing Captain. They were doing Dr. Doofenshmirtz's lair. His big building was an idea set. And I always thought that, so I had kids who were now in their late teens, early 20s, who grew up with Phineas and Ferb. It was a Disney show. I don't remember if it was Disney XD or just Disney. And the show was basically about kids being on a summer break, and they were kind of geniuses, and they were always trying to build something to occupy their summer days. So, like, you know, they would be building things, they would be going on adventures, and I thought this would be a great thing to get 2 main or 3 or 4 main figures. You get the two kids. You get Perry the Platypus, which would be a great minifigure. Probably Doofenshmirtz and probably his sister, right? I don't know if you need the parents or not. But then, like, there's play sets of everything they've done during the show, you know, which they've built a lot of stuff. I'm like, why are these not Disney and Lego? I mean, come on. So I don't know if the ideas thing is going to be because I don't know that it's actually going to make it or not. That's up to the Lego designers and the studio. But I think that would be great. I feel like I'm not building very fast here. I still want to try to do, and this is just for me, and I know I've talked about this before, but Centurions, because again, I feel like it just kind of lends itself to the idea of Lego, especially the buildable figures, the old buildable figures that we got, those like 8-inch, 10-inch, whatever they were. In fact, all the guys who were over here last night were going through the Lego room, and they're like, "This is really rad. This is really rad." And a couple of them haven't seen before the speeder bike, the big buildable figure speeder bike from Return of the Jedi. They're like, "That's really rad. When did that come out?" I'm like, "Oh God, like 10 years ago. Like it's been out for a while." And I was like, I honestly, those buildable figures are really great, or were really great, and I feel like they could be used again for specifically like for Centurions. That'd be I think really good. Icons, hypercars, supercars. I have no idea what that is. Do explain. Okay, this is getting a little difficult, but it's okay. And then this. Again, I would love to see something like another anime mech or something. The problem I think you run into with a lot of these is I think Lego has to be careful about the IP and how relating something that they've done to that IP, because they could easily do one thing from one genre of anime or something like that. They could pick an anime and do something, but then they have to be careful of like, okay, well, this specific character or set or vehicle or whatever isn't that bad, but it comes from a show that is all about war or is all about sex or all about like the drug trade or something, right? So they got to be really careful that just because one thing works well, it doesn't, you know, which is why I thought like Overwatch was an interesting choice, because I'm like, you just out there shooting at each other. Like there's no like real, you know, the story and the lore isn't that deep. So why they picked that? And I'm like, I know why they picked that, because kids liked it. And it lasted not very long, but... And like Indiana Jones, it's like, yeah, Indiana Jones is great and everything, but there's Nazis and there's guns. So I think they're trying to be really careful with that, but sometimes I think there's a lapse and they forget. So something like Centurions would be interesting, but it's basically they're just running around shooting at each other. And a lot of the times in the show, this gear is great. I'm loving this landing gear. This feels very something Darth Designer would do. He would be like very intricate with it, and I feel like they spent a lot of time with it. I'm saying something. You just have to be really careful about, because it's little kids who will be buying this set, and you don't want to like encourage them to go mass murder things. Even though it's a kid's toy, it's like, yeah, but it's still a toy. It's still something that kids will play with. I mean, look at that. That's really rad. That looks really cool. And this flips and goes there. Doesn't look like it connects to anything else. It's the only pin there. I don't know. What do you guys, other than the high performance car, do you think there's anything that Lego's kind of missing out on? Do you think there's money on the table that they've left out? Somebody the other day said Thundercats, and while I kind of agree about Thundercats, because you could get some really cool action figures, you can get some cool CMFs maybe out of that. There's not much else to that. Like you could get, it would be like, I think it would be an icons thing again, like maybe like this, where you make the cat's lair or whatever it is, or you make the thunder tank. But that's really the only couple of things they've got. You know, everything else was like on foot, going into the woods, going into something. The bad guys had their sleds that they'd fly around on, but that was kind of it. Mum-Ra's temple, maybe. Okay. Lego GoBots. Wow. You want to upset a whole world of people. We only got one Transformer, but here's a whole line of Lego GoBots. I will admit, we had a lot of GoBots when I was a kid. Because my brother and I could afford the GoBots on our own. I think at the time they were like $5 to $8 or something. Anything that comes in a blister pack instead of a box, you're like, yep, I can afford that. Oh, I missed a step. I sure did. I mean, that's just cool. I don't care who you are. That's just cool. Right. Oh, there needs to be one on top of here. Because that is how it connects to the rest of the set. Don't even remember the names of the GoBots now. Leader 1. There's the motorcycle guy. What else? There should be. So this one was right. The other one was wrong. Lego Spaceballs. I think that there. I think somebody did the Lone Star's Winnebago space thing, and I forget the name of that ship. It's not Spaceball 1, but you could do Spaceball 1 and have it transform into Mega Maid. That'd be kind of fun. Okay. So this says to do this. It says push it up. And what does that do? That doesn't do anything. Okay. I think I'm missing some linkages in here or something. Anyway, that is now pushed. Okay, it's pushed all the way up. Is that what makes these work? I don't know. I'm convinced it's all broken. All right, so bag 9, we'll know in about an hour. Souls tiles? Like from the Pixar movie Souls? Or is there a property called Souls Tiles? All right, so here we go with Baron Harkonnen. I am curious. I want to know what's in here. Like, before we even get to it. Oh, it's the wings. Okay. Well, no. Curiosity abated. So here's the Baron. Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Elden Ring. Oh, that explains it. I've never played... I feel like such a poser for never having played Elden Ring, Dark Souls. I've never played Skyrim. What's another one I've never played? There was one that came up the other day, and I was like, nope, never played that. What's that? Hideo... I forget the guy's name. Hideo Tagachi? I forget his name. He did Death Stranding. Metal Gear. So I've never played Metal Gear. And like the more I look at like the range of games that I have not played, I'm like, I feel like I haven't played a whole lot of anything. But at the same time, I'm like, Hideo Kojima, thank you. I'm like, have you played Okami on the Wii? And everyone's like, no. I'm like, oh, it's the best game ever. All right, so this is gonna be your Baron. I think people who have not seen the movie are a little confused by why the Baron is so tall. I'm like, he's not tall. He's levitating. He's got a big cloak, and that's him like rising up and being imposing. So I don't know if that's a thing or not. Whoop, doo-doo-doo-doo. This is gonna be fun. Let's put that around like that. Around like that. I've never played Final Fantasy. Any of the 157 iterations of that game. I take it back. There was a version of Final Fantasy that I played. Okay, it kind of flips out a little bit. I don't know if I did that or if it came bent. The package that I got was a little bent. So now it's bent with whatever the package was. So I will try to get this to be flattened out a little bit. But there's your... I'll put him right here. I try not to bump into him too much. There was a Final Fantasy like a million years ago, and I don't even remember what system it was. I'm guessing it was probably Nintendo, because that's really all we had. We had an Atari and we had a Nintendo, but I don't remember if it was like the original Nintendo or a Super Nintendo or what. But like the very first Final Fantasy, and it was basically like if you took being able to walk around in space in real time out of like the original Quake or Doom or something, or Wolfenstein or whatever. It was basically like you press forward, you go forward one room. You press forward, you go forward one room, and then a thing appears, and then you have the options of how to attack it. And whatever you did made the thing light up a little bit. It was kind of, I mean, it was super cheap, but I mean, it was literally the first Final Fantasy. And after that, I'm like, I was like, oh, there's a sequel to Final Fantasy. Yeah, I should pick that up at some point. And then before I know it, Final Fantasy 82. And you're like, okay, well, I think I've missed the boat on that one. I can tell you what, I took apart 2 pretty big Lego sets in the last couple days. And my hands are really starting to get a little... my fingertips are starting to get bruised or something because it's starting to hurt. And I know people wear gloves, but I don't know. I can see that helping your fingers a little bit, but I feel like the pressure is still going to bruise something. Oh, I gotta make 2 of these, dang it. And then turn it like that, and then don't do anything else. Kingdom Hearts was actually kind of fun. Like, I got into it a little when it started. I think the idea of Kingdom Hearts was like, Lego took it and went, hey, we could do Lego Dimensions, whereas like there's a lot of different IPs coming together. But also there was another sort of take a neat figure, put it on this platform, and you see that character now in the game. And I can't remember what it's like, Sky Masters or Sky Forge or something, Sky Dancers, where it was the same thing as like Lego Dimensions, where you had a character, you put on a little thing, and it shows up in the game. So I can't remember why, if one worked better than the other, but yeah, Lego Kingdom Hearts, I think is good. I like the idea of mixing and matching stuff like that occasionally. Also, I slept a bit on Dimensions. I really wish I would have got more of those when they were out originally. Oh, man. Okay, so Lego Dimensions for me now shows up as, hey, I'm trying to get rid of these figures. And so, like, I think I've got a couple Lord of the Rings and like one Simpson thing. All right, so we're doing 2 of these. They always show up as like a white elephant Lego gift somewhere. And there's me in the corner going, these were a thing? How come I didn't know about this? You could have got a Portal figure? You could have got a Doctor Who? Ooh, I tell you what, my head is not happy right now. I thought the greasy food and coffee would help, but this is kind of stuff that I don't like. It's repetitive Technic stuff. And I get it. It's going to be cool when it all comes together, but right now I'm like, oh, this is so boring. Just put a pin in a hole and a pin in a hole and line this up and smash your fingers together. And oh, that's upsetting. Where are you going to display this? I have room on my shelf right now. I took off quite a few things. And I'm taking off more. I'm going to take apart the Justifier, probably the TIE Interceptor. Oh, no. The Scythe shuttle, the Inquisitor shuttle. They're all just big black or gray things that don't need to be taking up space. They're not really cool looking. So I have right next to the 2 T6 shuttles, I have room to put this up. Oh, F. See, this kind of stuff drives me crazy. I hate doing this stuff. Ugh. And I'll probably leave this one up for a while because it's pretty unique. It's not like, oh, another Star Wars ship. And a lot of people I know have seen Dune who aren't sci-fi fans. So, I mean, I just realized I have to do this like 8 times. Man, put an F in the chat for my sanity. This dumb thing. Yep. So here in Texas, and Greg can attest to this a little bit, our winter's done. I don't know if anybody realizes that, but this is all very loose. Not really sure if that's supposed to be all that loose just yet. We had one cold snap earlier this year, and that was kind of it. I feel like we're done. And somebody said, I think that was a warning shot. I think we're going to have another. And I'm like, I think we're done, man. All right, so these 2 pieces then go. We got a bunch of these. Got 4 of those, and they go into here. Oh my God, if this doesn't work and I have to take it apart, it's going to be such a nightmare. There's so many little linkages and stuff. Thank you, Missy. Appreciate that. Oh, people go everywhere. So I'm a huge fan of Dune. I'm a fan of the books. I'm a fan of the David Lynch movie. I'm a fan of the new Villeneuve movie. I think the story is intriguing. I think the politics and the technology and kind of the religious overtones are really, really fascinating. But it is a very dense read. It's a very dense story. If you've not read Dune, I recommend it, but not if it's, somebody was saying, there's a video I was watching where they're like, do not do this to somebody if they want to get in to science fiction and want to know where to start. Don't recommend Dune. And I'm like, yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. It's really dense. It'd be like saying, hey, just go read, you like fantasy? Go read everything Brandon Sanderson has. Here, start with the Stormlight Archives. That won't take you but, 48,000 pages to get into. But again, if you like it, you'll read it. There's a handful of other books that are like that where you're like, don't recommend this. And Dune's one of those. It's focused on religion and politics and sort of the what humanity's kind of turned into in 10,000 years. And it's cool, but it is a lot to kind of wrap your head around. Especially the later it gets, man. It gets from like, because you're early on, you're trying to figure out, all right, well, this is cool and everything. You're trying to kind of equate modern times to whatever is going on in the world now. But then after that, the books just go so far afield that there's no like frame of reference after a time. Muad'dib starts being able to see the future. His grandson turns into a giant worm. You're like, okay, I don't know what's going on. I really doubt it. I think they're gonna do this and then be done, honestly. I think this is a pretty hefty experiment for them. And I just think making one Dune movie, a movie based off the first book, you could do a whole 6-part television series on Disney Plus with just the first book, and they would still leave stuff out. But sometimes, and this happens a lot with science fiction and fantasy adaptations, people go, well, they left this out and they left that out, and this is important to the story and blah, blah, blah. It's like, do you remember reading the book? Do you remember it took you 2 months to read that book and you read for like 2-3 hours a night? Why would you want to watch a show that mundane, that granular and crunchy? We're no longer in an era of this show runs 22 episodes a year for 20 years. We're now at, they have to tell a story in 6 episodes or they're not going to do it. And I don't see them doing that with major stories like Dune anymore. The fact that we have anything like Silo or Wheel of Time is kind of a major miracle, or a minor miracle. And as much as people want to give Rings of Power a bunch of guff for being like not good, it's still an ambitious and I would say impressive attempt. I really like that show. I had no problem with any of the pacing or the acting or the storytelling. There were a couple of things that I rolled my eyes about, like, why would you do that, right? But I think that kind of, there's a few shows that are really good where there's still that one episode where you're like, character makes a questionable choice or something. So I think you can still find, I may be mistaken on this, but I think you can still find the Sci-Fi Channel adaptation of Dune where they did do they at least went up to Children of Dune. And I don't know if they went past that. And I forget what's after Children of Dune. Dune Messiah? It's been, I've only read the sequels once. I read the original book like maybe 3 times. I like it, but I don't know if I'm gonna ever read it again. It's just a lot. But yeah, I think they did the first 3 books on the Sci-Fi Channel. And those were really good. Like, those were actually pretty decent adaptations. And I try to encourage people to watch those if I can, because I feel like those are pretty good. Very faithful to the book, very faithful to the source material. And they had kind of the ability to also expand a bit so they can include more stuff because it was a mini series. So I felt that was kind of cool. Don't remember who was in it. I think it was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was also kind of like, this is early computer graphics, so it was a little, some of the stuff was a little cringe now, but story holds up. Okay. This times 2. Both sides. This times 2 on both sides. I'm a little worried that I got 2 of these, because I can see having 1, but 2 scares me a little bit. I think I got everybody on there. Oh, something just broke. Yep. Neat landing gear, a bit fragile. Where did that go? Yeah, I kind of figured that was going to come off. That's a little... Sorry, it's out of camera, I know, but I'm holding it up so I can see what I'm doing. So that's, be careful of that. If you're looking to hold it on the side, these little bits aren't really locked down very well. I would have put another like curved slope, reverse curved slope right here to hold this plate in place, because that will just snap off in your hand. So I have to kind of hold this a little funky. All right, this goes here. And this goes here. All right, so we're filling in gaps, which is, again, really, really nice. Like, there's been so many times when you're building a Lego set like this, where there's these giant gaping holes where you can see all the Technic things being done. And you're like, I don't want to see that. It's gross. The why is this not fed? The night buzzard, the ship of the Knights of Ren, was terrible like that. It was just so, like, you flipped. It was okay looking from the top, right? It was fine. It was a big black wedge. But then you flip it over, and it was basically a Technic cage where you can see the big black wedge. It's like, oh, God, this is terrible. It was not put together well. Yay, last bag. Last bag, last bag. I've got 45 minutes for this last bag. I think we're good. Actually, again, I'm a little worried that I have 2 of these. 1 I get, but 2... Now, there were quite a few of them, so maybe that's just... All right, so we get the bag, plus we got canopies and wings, so... So what is everybody doing with the rest of their day? Last bag. What do you guys got planned for the rest of today or the rest of the week? I think next week is... No, not next week. 2 weeks from now is President's Day. So we get a bit of a 3-day weekend coming up, so make some plans. Johnny, what's up? Setting up a space heater. Furnace done blowed up, did it? Oh, nice piece. That's a nice piece. Little trans black curved slope canopy. That's really great. By setting up a space heater, you mean you're plugging it in? Aren't space heaters just, you just plug it in? That sucks that you have to go through that, man. I'm sorry. Do another one. Oh, I am so stuffed. It's beginning to be a problem. Oh, and then times 2. Okay. Nope, they're black. Much more panels in the trans black, so that's, I guess, new color for that. I don't know if that exists yet. It's like a mini electrical radiator, at least 50. That sucks, man. Were the Mythbusters involved? Yeah, wasn't there a myth about the space heaters or something exploding? We had a few, because we've got furnaces here, but they're not used all that much because it doesn't really get cold. Although my stupid gas bill was like $180. And I'm like, for what? The 3 days that it was cold? Come on, man. Did it. But yeah, we've had some issues at our building where I work, where people have been using space heaters and stuff, and we had one whole floor switch go out because the construction guys were using space heaters to unfreeze some of the pipes, and I don't know why I had to turn that around, and We're like, hey, thanks, guys. You just totally blew out a fuse. And our whole 3rd floor network went down. So that was fun. All right, so I don't like this seat thing, really. It just comes out too easily. Like, I would have appreciated it if this had been a later addition. Because so far, I've knocked it out 3 times. It just sits in there like that. I feel like these needed to be attached to something else. I don't know why they're, like, so wobbly. Yeah. This, I feel like I haven't missed anything, but at the same time, something feels off about this whole set. Like, from the get-go, although that's a nice printed tile, House Atreides tile. It's supposed to be a seabird of some kind. I forget what their house symbol is. But yeah, this whole time I've been building, I'm like, I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like I'm getting all the steps. Don't have any leftover pieces. But everything seems a little loose, a little wobbly. Not really tied together. Amidst some really, really great build techniques, too. So I'm not really sure what's going on. Came loose, like as I was building it came loose, or it's supposed to be loose? Like it came that way. They dock you hard when it's used. Dock you, like who docks you? My brain is starting to fog up a little bit. I think I may need to go back to sleep. Got about 3 hours of sleep. It came loose while building it, but it's not... Oh, yeah. That's what I was thinking. It didn't attach to this. I didn't attach it to that in the first place. That's what it was. There we go. Now I feel better about the whole situation. That didn't come loose at all. I didn't actively put it together like that. Now we just got to see if these wings actually do something. Dark blue door panel. Like the company supplying your gas, it's an emergency when everybody suddenly uses it, so it costs more. Oh, yeah. Well, and we've got our lovely Texas grid that falls to pieces when there's like even more than slight normal usage. The cockpit is made very open to provide maximum visibility to the craft's pilot. There you go. Just in case you were worried. Also, we have guinea pigs that aren't supposed to get below 60 degrees temperature-wise, so the heat is more for them. I get you. I have a wife that's like that. If it gets below 68 degrees, she starts freaking out. Are you cold? I'm like, babe, the heater is on, and it says 71 in here. But I'm so cold. Tiramisu. The super reliable grid. Hey, Zisu's back. Welcome, Zisu. Welcome back. Yeah, meanwhile, I'm sleeping virtually naked on top of the covers. I'm like, can we turn the fan on? No! My butt is so hot. Are these supposed to be on top of that stud? That feels... Okay. Missy, I don't know if you listen to our local NPR station here is KUT, based off the UT University of Texas, so UT, and so the call letters are KUT, which is an anomaly usually in radio anymore to have a radio station with fewer than 4 call letters. Well, we got one, and there was a special reason we were allowed to have that for some reason a long time ago. I'm sure it has to do with LBJ. I have no idea. But anyway, they recently changed their kind of branding a little bit. Reliably Austin, right? KUT, Reliably Austin. Kind of the idea of like, it's a public radio station. They're going to bring you like just news without bias kind of thing. You can always count on them to bring you the good local stories, that kind of stuff, right? They they probably changed that about 2 months ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago. They started using that, and then we had the cold temperatures, and they lost a transmitter for their music station KUTX, and so they're still going KUT KUTX Reliably Austin, and I'm like, yeah, tell me how that transmitter's going. Doesn't seem really reliable. Not what they meant, but you know. Oh, 100%. Like, it needs to get down to about 65 for me to feel comfortable sleeping. But I know if I do that in the middle of the night, I'll wake up and go in there and nudge it down. Yeah, I mean, it's public radio, so I always say, well, public radio has always been a bit unbiased, but even that I think is kind of like, well, not really. It's trying its best to be a little unbiased and centered and equal time for everybody and that kind of stuff, and just reporting facts and reporting things as they are, but everything's got a little bit of a lean to it. And I feel public radio is probably a little bit left leaning more than, let's say, other talk radio or other news programs. So who knows anymore? Yeah, everything's a bit biased. I've been trying to read more news from Ground News. Just a news aggregate, but what they do is they try to get all the like the stories from all these different sources. It's pretty nice angles and stuff so far. And then they will present it like, I forget which headline they usually send you, but then you can go to the site and it's got, here's how the story is trending. Here's its biases. If a lot of like right leaning news sites are reporting it, then the story's probably trending a little more conservative, or left leaning than more liberal or whatever. And then the central ones are always like AP, Reuters, BBC, stuff like that. Is that it for that one? Okay. Oh, and then I have a tile. I missed a tile. I missed the cool tile, man. And these in gray, that's really nice. I know we got a bunch of these for the Mars base, but I still like that color. So yeah, and then what they'll do is, they kind of watch how you use the news service, and whenever you start reading stuff based on your history, they will develop a blind spot for you. So you can say, when you're reading stuff, they're like, we feel like this is in your blind spot, and you may be missing stuff based off not being able to, or not reading this. So it's kind of cool. Like, it forces you to kind of look at things a little different, and it provides you with a bit more coverage. So it's kind of cool. But like I said, they're not reporting the news, they're just aggregating it. So you still have to do a little curation and a little bit of work yourself. But I think they do a pretty good job. I think it's an interesting service. cockpit number 2. And this is cool because you get 2 of these in this set if you were just looking to part it out later. I don't think I've ever used the top studs on a cockpit like this as part of the build. Like, I've always allowed the cockpit free reign so it can open and close, but this is interesting. I don't really want this right now. It's a bit too jazzy for me. Yeah, I can't really. That's like, they buried the lead with that, really. They're like, we know you just want to put those wings on. We know that's what you want. We're going to put, that's going to be the very last. It's like putting the wheels on the expert car sets where you're like, man, that just means that's like, I'm done. 100%. That's it. I made it. I just need to go drink a ton of water and sit on the couch for a few hours. I don't think I'm going to be making it to my second shift of the TIFO painting. I'm just way too wiped out. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying building, and this is kind of the fun part of building for me. Not the, I like the interesting angles and stuff that they're doing here, and it's so much more interesting than all the Technic stuff. But we're getting to it. This cockpit, and then the wings, and then that's it. This little pink dot is going to be extra. Already know that. And this is going to go on like this. Ah. Okay. All right, here we go. All this talk of cockpits reminds me of the Lego movie Super Secret Dropship. Looked it up. Not as good as I remembered. Could use some mods. The Lego movie Super Secret Dropship. I don't remember that. Super Secret Dropship. Is it the spaceship? Is it the one that he says spaceship and goes crazy and builds the ship? Are these on top? I didn't realize it was called a super secret dropship. Those don't go in very well this time. I have a lot of these left over. All right. And a lot of these left over. So let's see. What's the next step? Wings. Hooray. Oh, so pretty. That is cool. I would be absolutely gobsmacked if Lego didn't figure out a way to turn this into wings for a giant bird model of some kind. I don't know if you can still see you can't because this camera's not on. But that's kind of what I did with the owl. Is turned Ninjago swords into feathers. Can you imagine on the scale of this, where they have whole wings made of that? Still no love for the general idea of the SWAT vehicles and dropship police force. Oh, yeah. Oh, for the police force. Got it. Yeah, I don't remember that one. It probably wasn't as impressive to me as the spaceship, or the pirate tank thing. Wrong way. No, that's fine. I get you. Yeah. Yeah, Lego's still doing police. And I think I mean, I understand it's part of an infrastructure, and I think the city line is more about infrastructure than it really is about anything else. But I get, what I don't get is still doing Harry Potter. So I did a little reading, and I'm not defending J.K. Rowling. I'm just going to start with that. But I feel, because they're going to have their own opinions on whatever. But I did some reading, and I feel like there has been a little bit of overblownness to some of what she said. Again, not defending. But I think in some cases where a clarification could have been made, there was more doubling down than anything. And I feel like there's also a lot that was taken out of context. And I feel like there were some that were like sound bit out of other things to make it sound worse than it was. But at the same time, some things were said. And I don't understand why Legos can... Yeah, they still buy it, so that they're going to keep making it. But I mean... They're always talking about Lego values. Values this, values that. And I'm like, okay, well, but here's a perfect example of how you could be flexing those values. And you choose... They're also doing so many, like, things that are... Their DEI mode has been kind of in high gear lately, and I think that's great. To also then, one hand tries to be very diverse, and the other hand sells Harry Potter sets. It's like, I'm not sure how I'm squaring this, but again, I tried to read up a little bit about the whole situation, and I walked, like, I read 5 or 6 different websites, and one of them was just like, here's a timeline of everything that happened. Here's the full messages that they posted, all this kind of stuff. And I read, like, I spent most of a Thursday, I think, doing this when I should have been working. All right, here we go. Wings attaching. So this is going in. These are the front. And they're going in, I'm assuming, like this on that post. Like that. This is going to be really big. I may not be able to get this all on the table. We'll see. And I don't want to negate anybody's experiences, kind of thing, but I don't know. I'm having a hard time sorting the whole thing. It's going to be a little unbalanced, so I'm going to do this side. I don't think I have a single Harry Potter set anyway. Like, I liked the movies, okay? The movies were fun bit of fantasy, but I never read the books because it kind of hit. I was not the target audience when it hit, because they came out and... When did the novels come out? Because they went quickly from novelization to movie. So I feel like the novels came out in 2000, right? Something along those lines. I was just short of having kids at that point. Like, firstborn was 2001, so I was already mid-20s. So I was not the target audience. But it was still fantasy, you know, so I kind of, by proxy, went back and watched the movies, and the movies were good. You know, I enjoyed them. I always feel like it's a bit of a Christmas thing to watch a Harry Potter movie. Oh, no. Yeah, so I was trying to base it off of, I had a friend who was really into Harry Potter. And they're younger than me, so I was like, all right, I'm trying to remember when they were born. They're like, because they were it's like, it hit right as, right as I was aging with Harry Potter kind of thing. I mean, obviously much older now, but. Okay, so this is hard to see on screen, but it's huge. Let's see if I can get it a little turned. So if you can tell based off the figures how big this is, and then of course these go down. That is very satisfying. That, first of all, yes, it's ginormous. I mean, the wingspan is huge. 97.98. Okay, cool. All right, that makes sense. So 97.98. I moved to Houston. I was 20, 24, 25. So, all right. So there's some things going on here. I don't think I've got. This just says to press this. Oh, okay. Once the wings are on, it's weighted and it's much. So all I'm doing is pressing this, and the wings do a thing. Now, there's also the landing gear. I'm trying to hold it back here. It says if you turn this. Let's try that again. Where does this go up here? Maybe it's just this one. It's hard to figure out where to hold it. There we go. Aha. So yeah, if you turn, it's a little dodgy. If you turn that thing in the back, that little engine, that little thruster thing, that opens up. Let's see how well it lands with that. Okay, so it lands pretty well with that down. That's very cool. And then the other thing that this should do is, yeah, so then we'll bring the gear back up. And then we pull this back. And the wings collapse. So when it's flying, it goes into that dive. And then when it's landed, the wings can go back too for storage. That is probably one of the most... I'm really far away from the microphone now. This is probably one of the most impressive spaceship, half Technic, half built, brick built sets that I've built in a long time. The front end here is really, really cool looking. It's got some great angles in here. There's some areas in here that I would have maybe a couple places where you can see Technic brick, where maybe I would have put some half pins in and put a tile on it just to cover those holes. But I mean, that's not many. That's a little weird. Okay. So see in between the wings there, there's that Technic brick. There's no reason we couldn't cover that. Same with down here. There's a Technic brick down there. No reason you can't cover that. The plates with the studs, I'm fine with that. Not everything needs to be tiled. It's Lego after all. But I really appreciate the use of these Technic pieces that are not, they don't look Technic. They've got a bit of like fluting and grill, and they're changing shapes and stuff. So that's really great. Yeah, it really all came together. Like, I was really skeptical, but it does feel a bit fragile, but it's not. You can hold it by this back, by the tail right here, and it's pretty solid. Oh, I lost focus. Like, this is pretty solid if you just hold it back here. I think probably ideally, if you wanted to just hold it, you could probably pinch it right here and kind of manipulate it a little bit. Yeah, that's great. So if you're going to put figures in there, the one thing I will say is I think the reason that canopy is the way it is, I'm trying to figure out the best way to open this, is so you can take this out easily and put a couple figures in it and then put that back in there pretty easily. I don't think that's going to be something that you could do, but I think that's why they originally designed it like that. But yeah, having it open like that, and you can, you know, you got the ramp here for people to be on. This ramp doesn't go anywhere. Like, there's no hold or anything that you could store stuff in. There's no, like, you can see the ramp there. It looks good. Those white pieces look really great right there, but it's obviously dead ends with some of the Technic pieces holding it in place. No rubber bands to worry about. Army build that ship like the cool kids do. Army build, like, change the colors or buy hundreds of these. I don't know what Army build. I wouldn't want to put this together more than once. It's a really cool ship, but man, and the way everything is layered right here with all these Technic ribbed things, that just looks really cool. From a certain angle, like from the back, it looks really cool, I think. Very, very happy with this set. 4 hours, 5 hours to build probably. Maybe a little less if you're focused on it. Not super complicated, but it is not a kid's set. What did they give this? It's an Icons, so it's 18 plus. But I think any skilled 12-year-old could probably put this together. Just multiples of the ship. Can you imagine just having like a garage just with these things? I'm sure somebody's already figured out how to like motorize it. Although I don't know, it's only been out like a couple days. But all right, Missy, thanks for being here. Yeah, I'm gonna bounce as well. I appreciate everybody hanging out. This was a fun set. Some good figures. Let's open this up real quick. See if we can do this without breaking everything on the table. So you open the wings. There's the wings opened. Oh my goodness, it's so massive. And just for comparison, let's put in a little microfighter right next to it so you can see for scale how that works. Yay. All right. Thanks everybody for being here. Sorry the camera's not working up top, but I appreciate you coming and hanging out with us, keeping me company. I'm going to be on Click and Cliff tonight at 8 p.m. So if you've got nothing to do at 8 p.m. and want to come see more of Lego and me and whatever, I'll be hanging out with them for about an hour. And then Thursday, I don't think anything's going on. I want to make sure. I feel like the weeks are getting more and more packed, but yeah, so the 8th, I have the Kingfisher that I can start building, or I haven't figured out yet what I'm going to do, but I do have that set we can start building. But thanks again for being here. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Have a good rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you later. Bye, everybody.